pins wasn't enough to break the jackpot today, but golden ball's a lot of fun. So make sure and get those cards in to the BPA office. They'd be glad to see them. And you might even appear on our show.
Well, Stan Eaton started off exactly the way he did the last game, leaving that 7-pin.
I have to wonder if maybe leaving that big split in that last frame didn't maybe change it a little bit, because he was pointing it up so high. Maybe he went through. Probably not. Though Stan's a good player, and he'll get it straightened out.
That might be something to look for, though. That's a good point. Well, he carried all of his spares in the last match. And looking up to pick it up, indeed he does. So a spare in the first frame for Stan Eaton, and now the guy that Dave alluded to, well, lots of admiration in our last game, Tim Georg.
So well last week here. It was a pleasure to watch him bowl. He's getting some last-minute instructions from Erwin Hoenke. I can't understand what those might be, but we'll see if it paid off. No, he's probably telling him how to bowl several years ago when Irv was a good bowler in his time.
Is that right?
A lot of people won't know that.
Hey, let me tell you what. I bowl with my father on Wednesdays, and
great.
with my brothers and my dad, and he beats us all most of the time. No kidding.
Jennifer.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's because you're. Well,
she might be wagering for money or something right now.
No, they're wagering, and when it comes to that, the father's got a little. Well, never mind. We won't go into it. Tim Georg leaving the next to impossible, but makeable. What the heck was it? The 2-4-10. Let's pay attention to the game here, folks. 2-4-10, taking out the 2 and the 4, leaving the 10 for a 9 count against Stan's spare in the first. Now that we're back on track, go for it.
We got our BPA members here today. And Jimmy Lyles, of course, is our proprietor here at Kingpin Lanes. We also have Jerry Bettinghouse from Eastgate, and Gary Rolfus from down in Durban, and Mike McDonald and his son Ryan from Stumps.
And, of course, Irv Hoenke from Western Bowl. Not a very pleasant start here for Tim Georg.
Well, let me point out why Tim Georg is having a little bit of a problem. What we're seeing on the TV show today is not the same shot that he qualified on last week. Now, we're not saying that anybody's doing anything tricky. It's just that because of the lights and the heat, the lanes are conditioned a little bit differently to cope with that heat and change over the course of the game. And Timmy hasn't made the adjustment yet, but he's a fine player, and I'm sure he'll make some adjustments here shortly.
Tim is a recent PBA member, is he not?
Yes. He went out and hit a couple of spots, and he came back throwing the ball very, very well.
Looks a little perplexed.
There's a little bit more discussion going on here. I'm not so sure. Tim, but just talk business later. Think about your game now.
Stan Eaton is the vice president in finance for Eaton Farms Corporation. Needless to say, that is a family business. And he is making a business of knocking down 10 early in the afternoon.
That he is, Tommy. Absolutely perfect shot. Tim Georg is going to have all he can handle, starting out with an 11-pin deficit, which could go to 21 should he strike on this next delivery. I'd like to take just a moment to thank somebody. Boy, we get some mail when we do something wrong. Well, we got a letter here from Mary High is her name, and I want to say hi to Mary. Thanks for the kind words about the show and the fact that you enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoy the show more than Stan Eaton enjoyed that solid 7-9. Bad break. Let's look at it on the split screen. He thinks he throws a good ball, and he really does. Now what happens here is the ball's going to deflect a little bit. He's going to root it home. See it jump to the left? There, the pins part. The ball goes between, and a look of dismay on his shot, quite frankly.
How difficult to make?
Yeah, next to impossible. I mean, you can make it, and most good bowlers have made it one time out of 1,000 maybe, but you've got to bounce it out of the pit.
Okay, so with that, Stan Eaton has his first open frame. Tim George had one in the first. So it kind of changes the match quite a bit.
Actually have a 1-pin lead now for Tim. That would be, of course, with a strike.
He is in lane 4-0. And
There you go.
There's the strike. So the Kleekamp factor does go both ways.
Yeah.
She put the hex on Roger Sauerwein a little bit earlier, but no deal in our second game.
Give her time.
Oh,
Give her
boy.
time.
This is tough here. I'm in the hot seat.
See, how's the pressure feel after? See, I had to put up with that for 16 weeks last year, Jim. What do you think?
You'll be putting up with it for a long, long time to come as well, my friend.
Thank you, Thomas.
You're welcome.
Spring training's what? How many weeks away?
About 3 weeks away. Wow. Getting close. And it looks like Tim George has not only gotten close, but found the groove on lanes 39 and 40.
We got some Hudayers back here for Tim George. And, of course, we don't know where the Stanley Steamers are, but I'm sure they're around here, too. Of course, Stanley does have on his shoes Stanley Steamer.
Of course, those folks are out cleaning carpets today. And, well, maybe not. They might be off on Sunday. They'll be back at it tomorrow.
Golden shot, as is the 14K golden. Huh? Nice lead in.
How about the golden shoes?
That's what I meant. That's golden shoes, golden ball, 14K. I mean, crying out loud, we got so much gold going on around here. Yeah, that's right. Stan Eaton left lane and wants to make it a double and actually keep this match within one stick.
Got it to go.
All right, let's take a look at this on a replay. You want to see an almost devastating shot. The 10-pin's going to be the last one. Furthest to the right-hand side of your screen, watch this. That's the 3-pin going to the wall, comes across, just the neck of it hits it as it goes out, and we are going out of here to commercial. Give us 2 and 2, and we'll be back.
Demand. I can get comfortable here.
Light.
14 years in the award business makes Carl's Bowlers Paddock the award professionals, providing engraved plaques and trophies for any purpose in any size. And, of course, Carl's carries a complete line of bowling supplies and accessories. Carl's Bowlers Paddock, 829-2250. Come see our new location on Dixie Highway in Fairfield. Today's bowling tip is brought to you by Walt Sweeney West Hills Ford.
This could no more create a good golf swing than this could create a good shot on the lanes. We must maintain a good body position, and a straight arm swing is essential. There are several factors you should consider. The ball must fit properly so you don't squeeze or hang at the point of release, because both will cause your elbow to fly out. You must be firm at the release point, but not forceful. Your body position must be consistent. Stay down with the deep knee bend. Keep the shoulders parallel at the line, and the elbow in to hit your target. So if your arm swing looks like this, work on it till it looks like this.
Today's bowling tip has been brought to you by Walt Sweeney West Hills Ford.
As promised, we have ourselves a good one here in our second game today from Kingpin Lanes in Anderson Township. Tim George, after a slow start, has come back with 2 consecutive strikes. Stan Eaton is also working on 2 consecutive strikes. This is George in the 5th frame.
Tim Georg, of course, had a 791 to qualify here, and yesterday at Stones is where qualifying is going on this weekend. He shot a 730, and he carried better than he did there.
Let's look at his release, the powerful release. Tim Georg, smooth, goes right around the ball, comes off his fingertips. Absolutely perfect. Now watch the 5-pin. Second one back. Boom, go to the left wall, but what happens? The head pin blocks out the 7, or the 5 from going into the 7. Bad break for Tim Georg. Great shot.
Now needs that 7-pin.
Saw Roger Sauerwein do that the first game on that same exact lane. And you know, that's something else you can always note off of other players as well. You don't have to make the mistake yourself. You can watch somebody else make the mistake, and you can make your own correction.
But I notice some players, and I guess it just all depends on the individual, some will watch the other player, yet some will just completely ignore the goings-on.
Well, Tim was warming up down to our left, and possibly the lane conditions there aren't exactly the same as they are in this pair, even though we're told they are. He just strictly allowed too much room for the ball to hook and didn't get there. That shot being a little unnerved by a miss, the ball went wide, leaving a 2-pin. You know, under ordinary circumstances, this is a routine, easy spare. Let's see what happens.
An interesting note here on the sheet which Tim filled out just prior to us getting started here. One of his accomplishments or merits which he lists is I know David Newrath.
Hey, you gotta like that guy, right? Did he spell it right? Here, let me check here. Golf.
Yeah, he got you.
Golf, tennis, and I know Newrath. Yeah, well, okay. All right, Tim, we'll have to say a few more nice things about you because of that.
Boy, Tim has 3 children. He doesn't hardly look old enough to have children, does he? He looks really good. He's 30.
I'll tell you, Stan Eaton is not going to let up. Really wants to take advantage of that open frame by Tim Georg in the 5th frame, where he just total mental lapse. Right now, it gives him about a 20-pin advantage going into the 7th frame.
We haven't seen one of the players really today, any of our 3, that have really gotten consistent yet. In terms of, I mean, right now, Stan Eaton is working on 3 consecutive strikes. However, it hasn't been consistent throughout a match yet. It seems to go back and forth. Maybe any reason for that at this point?
Well, you do have a point, Tom. It's kind of tough as we look at the score here. We can see that the deficit is 22 pins. 108 for Stan Eaton, 86 for Tim Georg. The spare up, the big point working, so 22 could rapidly turn into 32 if Stan were to strike again. Tim's got to have this one.
Light again.
Tim Georg not carrying that strike proved to be his undoing. Never able to find the mark through the rest of the game. Stan Eaton striking with regularity, wins 247 to 179.